Sometimes you have to do things when you go into a doctor's office or you go into a dentist's office or you go into a principal's office where you have to review things you don't want to review. This is one of those days for me. I usually really enjoy Tony's work, and you should enjoy Tony's work. It's really great. BelieveinLand.com. He reviewed the Denver game. Tony's work is great. That I did not like the result in this game. This is a bummer of a game, Tony. It does happen. I said that in my post game. You said it to me earlier before we came on. I agree with you. It was just one of those. It was just a pure clunker. I don't know how else to put it. Pure clunker.
Yeah, and it was not fun rewatching it and wasn't fun watching it the first time. Once you can get the feelings detached a little bit, you can just kind of look from a more logical standpoint and see some positive things than things that need to be built on. That's kind of how I feel.
Tony, thank you for some positivity. This is not a positive, though, title of this play. It's called Bad Eyes.
Yeah, no. So Greg Newsome had his moment. We've heard all the stuff with he doesn't I understand he wants to be paid like an outside cornerback and he wants to play there. This was a good game without Denzel Ward to show why he believes that. He's played well in the slot all year. He had his worst outing of the season Sunday, and Cortland Sutton was giving him a lot of issues. Right here, Browns are just playing their cover one defense that they always are with man to man. One of the safeties is going to rotate down and play the middle of the field, one will rotate deep, showing that too high to give them more like, okay, this is probably like a cover two coverage. So the double post from the left side of the field will run him off, and Newsome's left on Cortland Sutton running the dig. You could see right here, Newsome's just not looking at the right spot. You could see him peeking back at Russell Wilson right about when Cortland Sutton is going to break off from his route. And when you do that, it's just impossible to keep up. And the separation that was created was instant, and Sutton was wide open for a huge gain early in the game. And this was, yeah, so that's right as Sutton goes to stem from his route. Newsome was peeking back, and he couldn't keep up with him, and there's a good 4 or 5 yards of separation between the two. And just a bad game overall from Newsome. He didn't tackle well. He struggled with Sutton, and the defense didn't play well in totality, but Newsome, who had a real chance to prove why he thinks he belongs on the outside, did not deliver.
Yeah, I'm not going to add much because everything he said is correct. Newsome's had a very, very hard time finding his footing as an elite corner. What is tricky that I will tell fans, it doesn't mean he's a bad player. It just he's not an elite corner. He's a slot corner. In truthfulness, you need slot corner, so it's not like it's an unvaluable thing.
Right.
He just had a really rough game.
He did.
I don't know how else to put it. He just did. And the Broncos came in, wanted to exploit it, and kudos to them. They exploited it well. The Browns are gonna have to make adjustments this week with Denzel Ward being out again. That's really the key here in this game. And the last thing, defense stunk. First time all year, they really, really just didn't look prepared. To be honest with you, I don't know how else to put it. Just very, very flat.
Right.
This one's called trap runs.
Yeah, so this is kind of the product of seeing something you like on film all week, having a veteran QB and a pretty good coach who can identify this look and go to it. We saw Russell Wilson so many times early in the first half and throughout that whole first half get up to the line of scrimmage and check into a run play, which then would go for 12, 13 yards because he was seeing this look and they were getting it and they saw an alignment advantage they had. So this trap run, you were going to see the two on the right side of the line climb up. The one guy's going to pull around and pin the three technique, which was the defender circled in yellow right there. And you could see right away the Broncos just off of alignment have this blocked up perfectly. And the only way the Browns could have attacked this better to limit it to more like a 4 or 5 yard run is if Taki he kind of takes on this block. I'm not sure if he's taught that his gap should have been over there, but the way the D tackle approached that block is he boxed it, which means he attacked it in a way where he's trying to force the run inside. And so when somebody boxes it, Taki then should have been there, I think, to get him. Maybe it's taught up differently, but you saw the Broncos check into this. Russell Wilson saw the alignment of the defensive tackles, checked into this run play, and consistently were getting yards. And it's part of a game plan thing, part of guys aren't getting off their blocks. It was really just a combination of everything that the Broncos had it schemed up pretty well, and Browns didn't overcome the play.
This is not a new development. The Browns for years, and I mean years, seasons, can't block up the middle and run plays. It's been a big inconsistency for this team. This is the first year I'd never really noticed it until Sunday. They got gashed. I don't know how to put it. They got really gashed up the middle. And yeah, I mean, I can go on and on. Look, it's one game, so we give it. Everyone on the coaching staff stunk. Stunk. There was just nothing felt like it was right. And Peyton, who's a very good coach, had a great day. It happens, folks. It happens in sports. He just had one of those days. Tony, do you a big discussion before we get to the next play? Linebackers not being good enough. I thought JOK had a wonderful day, by the way, before I
did
get off
too.
there.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of questions about the running backs. Walker's coming back. What are your feelings about the running backs? Linebackers. Because on that kind of play, you would expect the linebackers to maybe be able to get up and get the running back down.
Well, so JOK is having an all-pro type of season, so there's no complaints with him. He was great Sunday. He was one of the only bright spots. And Taki, the problem is when you're trying to play him like a full-time Mike linebacker, that's just not who he is. He's the occasional third linebacker when you go to your base personnel. So getting Anthony Walker, your green dot back, that's a huge thing too.
Yep.
Maybe part of this is just the Browns needed to shift their alignments when they saw Russell Wilson check, but we don't have that same mind of Anthony Walker in the game, organizing and getting everybody set where they need to be. So I think when Anthony Walker's out, it's a little more of a concern, but when he's healthy, him and Taki, or him and JOK with a little bit of a sprinkled in Taki can get the job done, and they've been getting the job done all year.
I agree. I think it's a little bit of overreaction there on that assessment. I was surprised. There was a lot of blowback by the linebackers, and I was like, I don't know. I don't think that's really fair in this situation. I will say I thought it was the worst day for the defensive line, and we'll get to this play next. I thought the defensive line just, I don't know what happened. Anyways, Tony, this is called Zone Q.
Yeah, I think this kind of stems from like just the way they game plan it all year, and we saw Lamar Jackson didn't really give us problems on the option runs. I think that's more of because Lamar is so dynamic on the ground that you have to take it away. We saw Gardner Minshew burn us on this, and we saw Russell Wilson really burn us on the ground. So when they run these zone option run plays, Russell Wilson is just reading that edge defender. And in the Browns Jim Schwartz scheme, the edge defender is taught to just take away the running back. Sometimes you'll see him shuffle in and kind of try to play both the dive and the pull. The Browns don't teach it that way. The DN just gets right upfield and gets on the end. The problem is that means somebody else has to be defending the pull. And right here, the Browns adjusted to it in the second half, and you could see they made progress and stopped it. But this was early in the first quarter. Right after they got burnt on it, they came back, ran it the other way. I believe one of these two guys between Delpit and Ford has to close the space right now. Like right as they're meshing, they have to close that space so he can't get his momentum going forward. Instead, I don't know who was assigned to close the space there, but they both end up getting stacked right on top of each other. And Ford's the one who ends up trying to make the tackle, but he had to go around and over Delpit. One of those two I think that probably needed to be Delpit closing the space quickly on that. And just in the first half, you could tell they didn't have much of an answer game plan wise for how they were going to stop the quarterback runs because they probably weren't expecting Denver to lean on it as much as they did. Denver must have seen something in that Colts game where they saw Minshew running with success and they thought, hey, maybe they're not going to prepare for it like they did Lamar Jackson, and it burned us in the first half.
The running quarterback, the run plays has not been – I think they've been average at best. They've had some struggles here. In fact, if I were playing against the Browns, I would run the ball. Browns don't stop the run consistently. When it comes to that play that you just showed there, but I think that there's a bigger discussion here. It's called the life discussion. Broncos 3 straight they've played a lot of home games, back-to-back home games here. Thanksgiving week, long week. Browns just didn't Tony, I can't say enough. They just didn't. They seemed flat.
Yeah.
It just seemed flat. It just seems like they were just a step behind the Broncos all day. And unfortunately, Russell Wilson, who I still didn't think played a great game, here's what I'll acknowledge. He knows how to play the game.
Right.
And he made great plays mentally. And they just were mentally ahead of the Browns all day. Stuffed box.
Yeah. So a lot of common discussion on Twitter is you see the numbers of how bad the Broncos' run defense is and how good the Browns have been historically with Stefanski running the ball. And you ask yourselves, why are they not running? Why are they not running? And this kind of a look is exactly why they aren't. All the red dots are guys that could be in the box. They consistently have a 5-man front. Teams don't really do that. The Broncos were consistently showing 5 guys at the front with 2 linebackers behind it. So if you count the tight end in the core, you've got 7 on 6, 7 defenders for your 6 blockers. That's just not mathematically lining up to ever make a play. And so on this one, they see that stack box. The Browns are running just a runoff there, and then Sale with Cedric Tillman. And Tillman runs a great route here. He had his best receiving game of his career. Doesn't say much. He's a rookie, but does a great job getting his hands off and then throwing him to create all that separation. And DTR, who I thought played a very good game, and we probably win that game if he stays in the whole time. He hits him right in stride, and this is a big first down against the look that the Broncos were giving us all game, which throw 7 in the box, make DTR throw it, and he was really starting to heat up late.
I thought DTR played a good third quarter. I thought in the first quarter, Tony and I won't agree on this. I get the box thing totally. I do totally get it. I would have called more, bring in more linemen. I would have gone old school. I would have ran the ball more. That's just me. I'm probably wrong. I'm probably some old fogey who doesn't know better. I just don't, in a game like this on the road for the first time for a rookie quarterback on the road, I would have done less spreading out with wide receivers and more compact. I would have brought an extra 2 or 3 tight ends in. Like, look, they're going to bring the box. Let's just take a man on man here and go forward. I thought there was way too much of it in this game with the pass. I just did. I understand your point. The look is there for the box in 7. You're right. I would have changed it up. I just would have enforced more of a run play. Is that ridiculous? I don't know, but
I think they probably should have tried to establish it a little bit more, but you're always going to be losing the numbers game in that situation, and then we're just going to see the short runs. Personally, if you go back and look at DTR for the most part, made really good throws. Like his stat line does not reflect at all the progress he made. He had so many throws that were dropped. Cooper had uncharacteristic drops. Njoku dropped a touchdown. If the ball, I really think if he stays in that game, they end up winning. And they didn't do him any favors as they were coming. And this throw right here, throw of the day, you could argue that this is easily the best throw a Browns quarterback has made this year. One of the best throws I've seen in a long time from a Browns quarterback, honestly. So the Broncos are bringing pressure, and they're going to stunt the left side with their 2 ends. And so it looks like the pressure's coming from our left side of the line, so where Garon Christian and Batonio are. So you slide the protection to the left, but this twist then allows a free runner. But you see you're getting a runoff from double post from Moore, and I forget who that is in the slot there. I believe that's Tillman. And then in between those two is Cooper just running a sail route. So you see when DTR takes the snap, because the protection slid and they run this twist, there's 2 guys free. There's not much DeJuan Jones could have done there. But look at where he goes. He's got his hands separated there, and that is who he's throwing it to, Amari Cooper, where he is on his break. This is 3rd and 8, and Cooper's nowhere even close to his break. DTR's already decided, fading away off his back foot, he's going to throw this ball. And, I mean, you could see right here, he had so many throws where guys, he couldn't even follow through on his throws. He was hitting helmets. He was hitting guys. And this ball was placed perfectly, like dropped right on the money, on the sideline, away from the defense, with everything that was going on. It's really an impressive throw that if you see Patrick Mahomes make that throw, you would be a little more like, okay, but it would still be impressive nonetheless. It's not something that's just impressive because he's a 5th-round rookie. He made legitimate NFL throws all day.
Here's where Tony and I agree. I think DTR can play. DTR just did not have. Again, I hate to say it, the Browns were just flat. Outside DTR, and I thought DTR had normal rookie road things in the first quarter, but very typical. I thought he was just trying to settle into the game. Third quarter, I thought he settled in. Then he got hit, and pop goes the weasel and everything, and away we go. I do agree with them though, Tony, on his assessment. I like DTR. I want to see more DTR.
Yep.
Going to be hard to bring him back, and we'll talk about it more in the Rams preview. Because once you go Flacco, I don't know if you can go back and forth. I don't like going back and forth between quarterbacks. It's not like pitchers, in my opinion. But that's a debate for another day. Tony's work is on BelievingInTheLand.com. Check it out. We should learn more from Tony. There are some things in here that did go well. He's got excellent work up there. Go to Believe in the Land for that as well. And then finally, we will see you at 9 a.m. for another 4:30 game, which I'm sure will end at 9 o'clock at night between the Browns and the Rams. Thankfully, no Cavs game Love the Cavs, but when the Cavs play late when there was a West Coast game, oof, no bueno.
It's a busy
No,
day, yeah.
yeah, no bueno. Tony there, I'm Andy Billman here. See you guys on Sunday.